Hey NASCAR, grow a pair and screw the West Coast. Don't worry, I'll add some context to that statement. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another episode of Inside the Lines. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. My name is Jack Krause. I took a bit of a break, as you can tell by the lack of videos past 1 or 2 weeks. As you may have noticed, I was at Daytona, all for Daytona Speed Week from Tuesday to Monday. It was awesome. It was also exhausting because of the rain, which we're going to talk about later on in the show. So make sure you guys tune in for that. If you haven't already, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. 4.9K, we're nearly at 5,000 subscribers. Yeah, let's not waste any time and jump into it. We begin our episode with Inside the Lines Rapid Fire, and we start off with, unfortunately, some sad news. Bob Jenkins, even if you did not watch him during his prime, you know who he is if you are in the world of motorsports. Today, he has announced that he will be stepping back his roles at Indianapolis Motor Speedway as he begins to undergo treatment for brain cancer. He made the announcement on Tuesday near the end of a 24-minute video posted on the Speedway's YouTube account. In that video, Jenkins explained how he woke up from a severe headache on Christmas night and drove to the hospital. Doctors initially thought Jenkins had suffered a stroke, but a further examination revealed malignant tumors in his right temple. Now, Bob Jenkins has had a long history of both health problems, not only with him, but with his loved ones. In 1983, he had colon cancer and actually beat it. Then in 2012, he retired from the IndyCar season and commentating to take care of his wife, Pam, who also was diagnosed with brain cancer and unfortunately did not survive and passed away in 2013. Now, like I said, Bob Jenkins is a freaking legend in the racing community. Joined on as part of the IMS radio network back in 1979 and quickly became very popular with his booming baritone voice and easygoing style. He has called numerous races from IndyCar to NASCAR to Formula One across the networks of ABC, ESPN, and NBC Sports. From 1979 to 2000, he was part of the NASCAR and ESPN crew. He has been voiced in numerous video games, the popular EA Sports NASCAR series back in the mid to late 90s. But he's probably most popularly known for his role as a radio commentator for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway radio network during the Indianapolis 500 from 1990 till 1998. And when this announcement first broke, I mean, everyone poured their support for Bob Jenkins, including myself. I really do hope he's able to beat this. And it just sucks. Everything that has been going through health-wise, and now he has this barrier, he has this challenge now to try and tackle to start off 2021. Hopefully he can beat it and is able to recover and get back to doing what he loves to do very soon. But yeah, it was really cool to see everyone sort of rally their support around Bob. And like I said, hopefully he's able to beat this cancer very, very soon. Netflix news show called The Crew, which revolves around a fictional NASCAR Cup Series team, is now out now for their 10-episode season. And I'll be honest, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. When I got to the 10th episode and when that ended, I completely forgot that that was the final episode. I mean, I binge watched the entire season without realizing that that was it. So the fact that I binge watched the entire season is a good sign. Now, there are some flaws in the first season, which not surprising. I mean, every first season has its own flaws. I mean, you're not going to start the season fantastic. You work your way up. So it was not that bad of a first season. If you're a NASCAR fan, I really do feel like you will enjoy it. They didn't cater to the stereotypes like how Talladega Nights did. It was actually really good representation, I felt like, of NASCAR. I really did enjoy it. And I really do hope it gets renewed for a second season. But if it does get renewed for a second season, we need more Ryan Blaney. I think I can speak for everyone when I say that Ryan Blaney, whenever he retires from NASCAR, he'd be great on television. Or at least great in acting in movies and things like that, because he had some really funny lines. Especially when he gave Kevin the middle finger while eating chicken wings. I'm sorry, that still cracks me up. Yeah, if you're a NASCAR fan, you're obviously going to watch it. But even if you're not a NASCAR fan, I do feel like, you know, it'd be a show that I think you enjoy. I mean, again, I enjoyed it, but I am a NASCAR fan, so that's why I'm even watching this in the first place. But I think it's something that even fans that are outside the sport will enjoy. Now, as we all know, in 2021, some racetracks will be having qualifying. This weekend at the Daytona Road Course is not one of them, so they did it by a random draw. And the draw has announced the 3 pole winners for the 3 races that will be taking place at the Daytona Road Course. In trucks, Ben Rhodes, who won the season opener at Daytona. In Xfinity, it is the 02 Chevrolet of Brett Moffitt. And in the Cup Series is defending NASCAR Cup Series champion and the defending winner at the Daytona Road Course, Chase Elliott. Now, we are going to be more in-depth with the starting lineup and everything you need to know for those races on our weekend edition of MDK Race Day, when we go over Trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup Series, so make sure to be on the lookout for that. Now, on to our first of two big stories on this episode. Alvin Kamara. If you don't know who he is, he's a running back for the New Orleans Saints. He made that, I think he tied an NFL record for most touchdowns in a game with 6 against the Minnesota Vikings. Well, if you are in the NASCAR community, you might have noticed that Alvin had started to get into NASCAR starting last season at Homestead when he was invited out to the racetrack, and I believe he even waved the green flag at the event. I could be wrong about that, but he had been slowly getting into NASCAR. This season, he's going all in. It was announced that Alvin Kamara's company, which is called the Big Squeezy, will sponsor Ryan Vargas and the number 6 JD Motorsports Chevrolet this weekend at the Daytona road course. Alvin said in a statement, quote, "When this opportunity presented itself, I knew I couldn't let it slip by. I did a bit of research on Ryan as an individual and JD Motorsports and was impressed with what I read. I'm excited to play a small role in what they already have going on. In the same breath, I'm just as excited for the opportunity that this gives the Big Squeezy. With us gearing up for franchising our new Express concept in 2021, I think this gives us an avenue to express our passion for serving healthy, fresh foods and juices throughout the country." Now, that alone is already awesome. I mean, Alvin Kamara, someone from the NFL, coming now over to NASCAR and being part of the team or being part of the sport in a big way is huge. But what's also interesting about this is how this deal even came together. It all started on social media. So on February 14th, Alvin Kamara tweeted this: "I've also discovered that I could have my own racing team. Stay tuned at NASCAR," with the crying emoji. Now, this was taken at first as a joke. At least I took it as a joke. But again, this is coming off the heels of Michael Jordan coming into NASCAR, Pitbull coming into NASCAR. So while it was a joke, you had this feeling in the back of your head that, this might be something. Who knows? But this could be something. Coincidentally, the next day, Ryan Vargas tweeted out this: "We are working hard to secure partners for this year, and if you or someone you know is interested, reach out." That same day, Cassie Fambro, who is a writer for NASCAR, or writes about NASCAR, made this reply under Ryan Vargas' tweet: "At Alvin Kamara 6, you can be a car owner for one race and try it out with Ryan." And right after that, Alvin Kamara tweeted out, "Okay, how do I do this? LOL, Ryan Vargas, what's up?" And just like that, 36 hours later, after all that took place, we have a deal. Alvin Kamara's company, the Big Squeezy, will sponsor Ryan Vargas in the number 6 car this weekend at the Daytona road course. And again, it is awesome. I love seeing sports crossovers, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, or even just music, just any type of crossover in NASCAR, I love. And who would have thought, if you were to tell me in 2021, Michael Jordan, Pitbull, Alvin Kamara, Tyler Yahweh with the Daytona 500 remix. I mean, it's just so weird, but I love it. It's just weird. It's weird. It's weird seeing these types of crossovers, but again, I'm not saying I hate it. I love it. And I want to see more of it. And yeah, while this shows that there might be still a lot of things we need to fix with NASCAR, it is for sure not dead, or, as the boomers like to say, NASCAR's dead, or NASCAR died with Dale. They can all piss off for all I care. I mean, this clearly shows that NASCAR is doing something right? But while we do have to talk about the good, we also have to talk about the... Now, while that's a lot of good with NASCAR, we do have to discuss the bad. And it is really bad. The Daytona 500 TV ratings have been out, and it is not good. At all. First off, let's start off with the Trucks and Xfinity. In Trucks, ratings were actually up 0.63 for 1.1 million viewers. That is up from last year's 0.59 or 1 million viewers on FS1. On Saturday, the ARCA race was up, I believe, 11% over last year, but the Xfinity race on FS1 a slight decrease. This year was 0.91 for 1.6 million viewers, while last year was 1.09 for 1.8 million viewers. But the 500, wow, did it drop. Adam Stern put out the release of TV ratings. Last Sunday's Daytona 500 had an average rating of 2.8 or 4.83 million viewers on Fox. That is down 36% in ratings and 34% in viewership, which makes it the lowest Daytona 500 rating in history. There is a bit of a silver lining we are going to talk about. According to another tweet from Adam Stern, while the 500 did post a 2.8 rating, the race started with a 4.7 rating and was trending to be slightly up from 2019. but casual viewers appear to have left the channel as a result of the 5-hour rain delay. Adam Stern put out another update that stated that the initial tune-in for Sunday's 500 pre-rain delay was 8.48 million viewers. Now that is lower than last year's rating, but keep in mind President Trump was there and that clearly gave it a big boost. In 2019, the last race that did not involve a president was lower, so technically the 2021 500 had a bigger audience than 2019, which is good. And usually, whenever you get that rating, more than likely is going to start trending up as the race goes on. So who knows, if there wasn't a rain delay, could we have potentially saw a bigger rating from 2019? We'll never know. And I have a feeling that if there wasn't a rain delay, it would still be higher than 2019. Again, in 2021, had a 4% increase in initial tune-in from 2019. Again, we're not going to include 2020 because the president was there and that obviously gave it a clear bump. The entire 2019 race had an average viewership of 9.1 million. Again, 2021 had a bigger initial rating than 2019. If there was no rain delay, it might have beaten 2019, and if so, by just a little bit. But this does bring out a bigger problem and something that I absolutely hate and nor understand. Why the hell do we keep on putting races, big races, in the middle of the afternoon, especially when you know the majority of rain, or at least the biggest activity with weather, usually takes place in the middle of the afternoon. Time after time after time again, we have noticed that this 2 to 3 p.m. Mark time when you want to start the race is just not working. How many times in 2020 did a NASCAR race get delayed due to weather because of the time? Now, I understand that some of the races took place at nighttime or 6 o'clock, but also a good portion of the races in the past few years have been delayed for rain or even sometimes outright postponed because it took place at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Perfect example, when you look at today's Daytona 500, the weather before 2 p.m. was perfect. No rain in sight. 12, 1, 2, 0 rain. 3 p.m., you start to see some drizzle. 4 p.m. is when it hit. I don't know what is with the networks and always want their races run on 2 to 3 p.m. time slots. They say it gets better ratings. I call BS because that's not even the case. Sometimes it even does worse than last year. And also, I'm pretty sure race fans do not want to see 5.5-hour rain delays before they get to see the other 185 laps of a race. But now people are going to bring up, well, what about the West Coast? Sorry, but screw the West Coast. And this is what I mean by that. If you look on Twitter, I put out a statement saying on how do race fans like from the West Coast, would y'all mind getting up early in the morning to watch a race? Surprisingly, a lot of fans did not mind. If 9 a.m. is too early for you, then you're probably not as big of a race fan as you think you are. I will get up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning to watch a Formula One race, an F1 race. When I know damn well that Lewis Hamilton is going to win, I still get up and watch it. Why? Because I don't care about the time. I like racing. And I'm pretty sure people in the West Coast, if they really do care about racing, they are not going to care what time it starts. And also, who would not enjoy waking up early on a Sunday morning and seeing NASCAR on the TV when you're in bed? Maybe having breakfast. I mean, come on. I would enjoy that. I think that's a win in my book. But again, I cannot speak for the West Coast. So if you are out there, if you live in the West Coast, tell me in the comment section down below, would you be okay waking up early to watch a NASCAR race? Would you be okay if a race was at 1 p.m. Eastern time and 9 a.m. on the West Coast? Would you be okay with that? Again, tell me down below in the comments section. Because I'm getting sick and tired of these races just being pushed back and or postponed when it's the network's fault. Back then, 2001, 2006, with the early TV package, races started at noon or 1 p.m. Eastern time. And then all of a sudden, the new network executives came in and for some reason thought, 2 to 3 p.m., that's perfect. But now you're probably wondering, but now some people might defend it by saying, hey, look at other forms of sports like the NBA, MLB, and NHL. Their finales dropped also tremendously. And while yes, that is true, the 500 had a steeper drop than any of the other forms of sports' biggest events. Like for example, the World Series had a 30% drop, the college football playoff game had a 27% drop, but it wasn't as bad as the NBA, a 49% drop, the Kentucky Derby, a 43% drop, the Masters, 58% drop, and the Stanley Cup Finals, a 61% drop. But keep in mind, those games had to be postponed, so they had to be moved out of schedule, not played in their usual slots. So it would be unfair to kind of compare the two when the 500 ran on this traditional President's Day weekend. And it's also important to know that yes, we're living in times where sometimes not everyone gets their information from TV. Sometimes they go on streaming platforms, and again, while we should take that into consideration, we still need to fix this problem. This is a big problem. You cannot have the biggest race of the year start off like that. And yes, again, it is just race 1 out of 36. It's still your biggest event, and you want to start off with a bang. Having the lowest Daytona 500 in history is not the way you want to start your season, is it? And I don't feel bad for Fox or for NASCAR because the writing was on the wall. The past 2 or 3 seasons, the Daytona 500 had either been delayed, postponed, or had some form of weather be a factor involved in the race. Typically in Florida on that type of weekend, usually the most activity takes place in the afternoon, in the middle of the afternoon. You want to solve it? Simply move it up to noon or 1 p.m. And for people that might say, oh well, Fox will never move the time slot. Actually, they've done it before. Back in 2009, and this tweet was pulled from NASCAR Man Racing Reference, he pulled up this tweet. Back in 2009, the Daytona 500 was started at 3:40 p.m. and was shortened by rain. The following year, in 2010, the race started at 1:15 p.m. So because of a rain-delayed event that started late in the afternoon, nearly 4 o'clock, what did they do? The following year, they decided to put back at noon or 1 o'clock the start time. And there was no rain. Yes, the track did fall apart, but that's still a completely different story, all right? Regardless, there was no rain. Granted, there was no rain at all in that race. Still, it was, in my opinion, a very reasonable time. And Fox reacted in a good way to ensure that, hey, let's make sure that this doesn't happen again. Let's move up the start time a lot earlier so that we don't get in the way of rain. Now, some people might bring up that, well, it could rain at noon. And while yes, that is the case, it is a less likely chance. Again, I live in Florida. I know what the weather's like. More than likely, it is more powerful, more stronger, and lasts longer when it's in the middle of the afternoon. Again, around 2 to 3 p.m. It can happen at noon, but it's likely to be less powerful and to not last as long. Regardless, it's best for business if they move up the start times for all races, not only for Fox, but also for NBC. Move up the races to noon to 1 p.m. If the West Coast people are race fans, they will get up early. If they don't get up early, who cares about them? Still race early in the morning, or at least early mid-afternoon. Noon, 1 p.m. slots. Please, for the future of NASCAR, the next TV contract should be noon, 1 p.m. start times. Done. But what do I know? I'm just a YouTuber with only 5,000 subscribers, so I clearly know nothing, right? Sorry, I don't know. Stuff like this just annoys me so much because there is such an easy way to fix it, and no one is doing anything about it, which sucks, but whatever. Anyways, that's going to conclude this episode of Inside the Lines. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. But until next time, my name is JettMDK, from MDK, and I'll see you guys next time.